Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another, what promises to be another great edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and glad to have you tuning in. We got a great guest, a very good friend of mine, very knowledgeable in the golf industry. And when we get to the interview, you will see why. We are coming to you, of course, live from the beautiful Rigel Studios in the heart of Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, as you know. Let me tell you a little bit about our special guest, Mr. Jamie McWILLIAMS. Jamie's career has spanned many years in the television industry. He is an award-winning producer-director for several production companies. He was the producer-director of the award-winning The Traveling Golfer television program, which aired on NBC Sports. And Jamie is also my co-host on our internet program, The Senior Delinquents. Hopefully a lot of you have watched that. And we're looking forward to a very, very good interview. So right now, without further ado, whatever that means, because I don't speak French, let's bring on my good friend, Jamie McWILLIAMS. Jamie, thanks for taking time out and coming on the show, because I know you gave up going to a new golf tournament that is in your area. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, the event's being held at Innisbrook, and it's called the Pro Cup. I was there a couple of days ago, just before things got cooking. But I didn't give it up, Dennis. I was shut out because with the cold weather, it was in the low 40s today.
Ooh, brutal.
And, yeah, but my car said, I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck. The battery died.
Yeah.
So, and my wife's usually around, but she volunteers. This was the day she volunteered early. So I tried to use a trickle charger to get my car back to life, and it said,
yeah, what was it going on? Mm-hmm.
So I did not go over to the tournament, but I will be there on Saturday because it goes Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's a first-time event. They chose Innisbrook, and what they've done is taken the 4 teams that are major league teams and pitted them against each other. So you have a team that's football, and I'll make sure I don't mess this up, Jerome Bettis.
Uh-huh.
I give them my own little nickname. They'll probably not like it, but I say, like, that's team strength.
Yeah.
NFL. Then you have John Barry, which is an embarrassment to me because I'm so old. I interviewed his father, Rick Barry, many years ago. So now it's his son. But his father Rick was a very good golfer. And,
yeah.
And John, I assume, is the same for him. He's the captain of basketball, which I term finesse and coordination team. And then you have John Smoltz, who's ostensibly the best player in the round. He, in fact, the day I was there, they were talking about, when I asked about them, why are they here? What are they looking to do? He was looking to try to get on to the Champions Tour, but he says that his games, he knows, is not quite there.
Yeah.
But it also speaks that the level of golf has gotten, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit later, talking about the changes in golf,
yes.
but the level in golf has gotten so incredibly high that he just feels he's not ready. But he is the captain of team baseball, which, and I'll give you a little side on this too, because I call that team playing, because the baseball swing is more of a horizontal plane. So I say they should be able to adapt to just making it a little bit more vertical and be great players. Although the best players in baseball are not the batters, but the pitchers, go figure. Anyway, they're team playing as far as I'm concerned. And then the final team is hockey. And I call them team explosion, because the hockey swing is compact and boom, put that puck in. Although in doing a little research on it, they say you don't see as much of that anymore. It's more circling and pushing and all that. But they have the hockey team. And and actually I got a chance a couple of days ago to talk to a person back in the older days. I did work with the NBA. I did some work with commercials for Newsweek Video, and I got to meet a number of the stars. I never got to meet Danny Ainge, but I always liked to see him play because he was a very competitive, almost nasty competitive type of guy. And he was on the range, and I got a chance to introduce myself and talk with him a little bit. And I asked them whether they feel that any teams in particular might have an edge. And he said hockey, but not from my analysis. He sort of said, yeah, because they snuck in a bunch of the younger guys. Most of the other guys are 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
I saw some of the hockey players on the range and teeing off, and yes, they're in the 30s. So it'll be interesting to see who wins because and one of the reasons I like to see Danny Ainge too is that he was so competitive. But I think it's interesting because when I asked about the level of competition with the person who started the concept and this general manager who lives in the Tampa area, probably have a lot to do with why it's being held at Innisbrook. He had said that, well, these guys, they have their various reasons. They're very, very competitive. But I just thought it was interesting in terms of the team concept of what are they trying to accomplish. And as far as I know, they just are still competitive enough that they'd like to beat each other's brains out.
Right.
That's what I think it comes down to. But it is the first time, it's the time for now that teams will be together competing against each other in matches, in 9-hole matches. So they play a morning match. They're playing, as we speak, the afternoon match. And but after this, they want to attract more of the stars, and they have a lot of stars. And but they also feel that to get that, they're going to move ahead and have individual competitions as opposed to the 4 going against the 4. So it'll be the next maybe in season, let's say baseball, and then football, of course. I'm sorry, they won't play it in season. They'll want to play it out of season so they get the participation levels up.
Yeah.
And then I quite, being a big mouth, suggested, well, you got to bring them back together for the final, Sorry about that.
It's probably Danny Ainge. I mean, you never know. Yeah.
It says Dennis Silver's message. You have to do an edit there. Don't ask me why. Anyway, another level of misery is I couldn't retrieve my messages on my phone service, and when I finally got the car to start, the cable flew off because of a new.
My goodness!
Cable. And so now I don't know where my cap is. It's buried into the engine.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, but get back to the golf though. Apologize for the interruption.
All right, well, you'll be back there tomorrow doing some good interviews. And who does this tournament benefit anyway? Is there a charity involved or what?
Well, there's always a charity involved to some degree. But I asked the GM, are they playing for money? Or are they playing for perks and stipends, things like that? And he said, yes, there is a cash amount involved. And then I asked, well, are some of the players going to say, I can't really get involved with that because I want to stay an amateur. I don't want to be classified as a professional golfer.
Right.
And he said that is the case. He didn't name names, but so there is a cash incentive. But I think at this point, it's the love of competition. And let me tell you something, Dennis, when you look at the way these guys hit the ball on the range, they are, you feel like you're at a semi-pro level, like
they're
maybe Orange County level. I mean,
they're damn good.
Smoking the ball, and they're shot after shot. And one of the golfers who lives out in Utah, Mr. Smith. There's 2 Smiths on the basketball team, by the way. But he said afterwards he was bragging, and he said, look at that pivot pattern, 2 strips parallel to each other. You ever see something that pretty? And I said, yes. Years ago, when they still had the Arnold Palmer before it was renamed, I was about 15 feet behind Tiger Woods warming up, and he cut a perfect rectangular square. I mean, perfect.
Yeah.
And the depth was exactly even. I'd never seen anything like that. So I had to humble him a little bit and say, but you're not quite at Tiger's level with your pretty little divot pattern.
That's pretty good. All right, Jamie, tell you what, we're up against a break. Stay right there. Don't move. We're going to be right back with a lot more with our special guest, Jamie McWilliams. We've got to take this break. We'll see you right after this. I'm Dennis Silvers, host of the 19th Hole Golf Podcast, asking each and every person who plays golf, beginner or seasoned player, what's the most important club in your bag? Chances are you'll get a lot of different answers. There really is only one right answer. And if you guessed your putter, you are 100% correct. Just ask any professional golfer, man or woman who plays on any major tour. I am very excited to announce that Zebra Golf, one of the game's most iconic putter brands, has made a long-awaited return to golf's retail marketplace with the launch of their milled series that feature 4 new putter styles designed to suit even my putting stroke. All putters, like golf clubs, are not created equal. Zebra mill putters are now offered in your choice of 4 awesome models, 2 blades, 1 mallet, and 1 higher MOI Fang design, with adjustable weights available to help customize your putter. All come with a mid-size grip for enhanced feel. So, if you want the one club that's going to lower your scores, why wait? Go to zebragolf.com and put one in your bag today. The only thing you've got to lose are strokes. Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers, here to tell you about a product that's improved my game, Poptical sunglasses. Unlike ordinary sunglasses, Popticals are collapsible using a unique rail system that lets you easily store them in their protective case. They offer crystal clear vision, UV protection, and are scratch resistant and water repellent. Made in Italy, they look great on and off the course. Plus, Popticals come with a 2-year warranty, a 30-day return policy, and make the perfect gift for the golfer in your life. Visit popticals.com for more info. We are back with more producer-director Jamie McWilliams, who is our special guest on 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. Jamie, what do you think about all this back and forth between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour? You think anything's ever going to get settled? Are they eventually going to come together and work out something that people are talking about?
Dennis, I think that history does repeat itself, and if you look at the sports history in the country, and when I was at NFL Films, of course, there was one league, the NFL,
Right.
But it wasn't so long before that the AFL, which at first was looked at as kind of a joke league. I mean, even the helmets, the uniforms, they looked a little different. They looked kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that money always dictates where things end up.
Yeah.
And what money dictated is once they got Joe Namath, once they developed some of their own stars, they became competitive. And the NFL did not want to treat them with a lot of respect. In fact, do you remember what they called the Colts in those days? They were not the Blue Meanies, but there was something that they had some kind of name that they were that powerful, that aggressive, and they knew that they were just going to rip those chests to shreds. And here comes Joe Namath, cocky as hell, saying, we're going to win the game, which they did. And then if you jump ahead 3 or 4 years, not only did the AFL end up winning the Super Bowl, but for a period of time, it was catch-up. And I mean catch-up that the AFL division dominated more than the NFL. Right. And that's what happens in sports. And I believe that in golf, money rules, and at some point they'll realize that together, with all the resources that they have with the LLV resources, my prediction is they will not mutually try to keep destroying each other, but they'll knit themselves together in some sort of fashion. And it will be driven by money. It'll be driven by, numbers and, oh, this is exciting.
I
And we
agree.
can't have people of this caliber, competing. We don't want to have asterisk LIV with the Masters, or we
Right.
have Bryson DeChambeau winning the U.S. Open. So they have, just like the AFL, the talent is strong enough that they've established themselves. And I also was impressed with, and it's a matter of finding the home, because I had done a feature and they rolled out the red carpet on drone technology, which I love because I have a couple drones.
Right.
And also, not only that, but they wanted to tell their story because they do not have the reach by far that the PGA does. So they wanted to show off technologically, and again, I think it's supported by the dollars, but they had the creative people involved there, and so the two pieces I did, and then I knitted them into one overall piece, was that they had by far the most technologically significant and interesting coverage of how you do television at this point.
Yeah.
And with drones, the blimps are out of business. No matter what, things change. So, think of it. This gigantic blimp
Oh,
has
I
to
know.
fly cross country.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It's limited in things to do. And the person whom I interviewed, who put all this technology together with it, said the advantage of the blimp is its size and its camera. The disadvantage is its size and its limitations in terms of what it can show. So you look at now, and drones are taking over, and the aerial coverage is so much more impactful.
Oh,
and they were the first two to show a drone tracer. Just
Yeah.
about shot tracer, you sort of get ticked off now when you don't have the tracer because you want to see how that ball really travels
exactly.
through the air. Well, now they
Good
have
point.
it for drones. So you can look at the wide shot and say,
That's
you are
a good
looking at
point.
the lay of the land and you're seeing exactly. Now, the downside is these guys make you look worse and worse and worse as a amateur golfer.
Yeah.
They've gotten that good, that level of performance.
So Goodyear's going to get into the drone business, right?
I don't think so. They'll keep making their tires. Now, the interesting thing will be, what will they do with these gigantic blimps?
I know.
I think they'll still be good at the Super Bowl, but they're starting to use drones technology, in football too. It's going to be pervasive in every sport,
I agree.
especially now. Now, the downside is, as we speak, we've got all these big mysterious drones flying over our country.
Yeah.
And in fact, where I lived in Bucks County, which of course now is infamous not for its lifestyle, but it's cheating basically. But right across the river, literally 2-3 miles from where I lived, they're in Ewing Township. They're saying, we have these big drones flying over us. So like most things, it's a little scary, but the technology in terms of showing things is going to be about as good as
it is. It's incredible. Anyway, I'm sure you know about the match that's coming up at Shadow Creek with Scheffler, Koepka, Rory, and DeChambeau, the Crypto.com event, which is going to be shown on TNT. Guaranteed at least $4 million to each player just for showing up and having a vacation in Vegas. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. And I know where the money's coming from, but I know these guys are playing for money. But don't you think that's a little over the top, Jamie?
I think that in general, what's happened, excuse me, with the tour, and there's a line that's usually crossed because at some point, as much individuals will have great upbringing, they'll have rapport with fans. Phil Mickelson, whether you liked him or hated him, I saw him stay and interact with fans for hours after he played. So you have individuals that do things for their own purposes, and the
Sure.
people who are raised really well, I think, keep that connection, appreciate the fans. But most of the decision making, unfortunately, evolves around money. And for a lot
Right.
of the players, there's such a separation that in your own mind, look, I have to tell you, I did not get rich doing television. I got moderately wealthy through making investments. And it does change your life because at my advancing years now, I find that a lot of decisions where before I'd be fretting or worrying a little bit this, but when you have that cushion, there is an emotional detachment that occurs that
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
you know what, how about that? It's not a big deal. I can afford it. I'm going to do this. So at some level, your psychology changes. And I think that for a number of players, you know, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think that when it's all about the money, then you lose something in terms of the sport. Look at,
Sure.
and this is mixing maybe apples and oranges, but look at what's happening with college football. The college football, unfortunately, I think, is evolving into money, money, money.
Yeah.
Now, when coaches talk about recruiting, the first thing the players want to talk about is what can I get? What
Right.
are you going to pay me? And
Right.
look at the number of commitments that are
Yeah.
no longer commitments. And you can look at that as lack of integrity, but basically it's not a lack of bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I both know, Jamie, and I think feel the same way. I don't know why the PGA Tour never had its their the commissioner got
Don't
23
feel guilty
million
about
dollars.
it, Dennis.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm just saying it's nonprofit status taken away years ago because you and I both know, and you know enough people within the organization to know that that was a joke. So where do you come up with this kind of money? Again, going to the commissioner, to Monahan, getting that kind of a salary. Got to come from
Yeah.
someplace, right?
Well, that to me is always a mystery. And while it's not the PGA Tour, I have to look at the LPGA. And on the one hand, you say, yes, the players are getting better. Yes. But when the players, and it's become much, much more of an international tour, and unless you are really plugged in, to casually look at an LPGA tournament where a half, maybe sometimes two-thirds of the players are from other countries. You don't know who they are. You know
Right,
that they're great players, but
right.
that's about it. But more than that, too, and maybe there's a little bit of a connect here. I always look at these tournaments and I say, where are the galleries? There's all this money. The money has
Yeah,
gotten, I wouldn't say exponentially, but look at this year. The Annika came on, which is in my area, and they were for a brief moment the highest paid tour event. Well, that moment vanished like that
yeah.
as everything else came up. And so I look at it and I go, I can't put I'm not on the inside, but I can't put my mind around. I don't see the money's got to be there. Maybe the numbers are there in watching, but something is missing when you look at basically family type galleries looking at a major event. Even with the final event that was just not too long ago in Naples, their championship, the first day or two, it was a great time to watch golf because there's nobody to get in your
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Very, very thin galleries. And that to me is still some kind of a missing link. I have to think that the players, it isn't the same when you're playing in a small gallery and you don't have the huge cheers like you'll hear at Augusta or a U.S. Open. But like you, Dennis, I can't quite understand why there's so much on one end, but it doesn't seem to match up with the other.
The other, and it's got to be disappointing to the tour. It's got to be disappointing to the sponsors, and they got to figure it out. Jamie, stay right there. We're up against another hard break. We'll be back in a very short while more with our special guest, Jamie McWilliams. Back right after this. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club is helping golfers around the world continue to enjoy the greatest game of all. This amazing club requires no swing to hit shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing to hit shots, including fades, draws, low shots, as well as high ones. One incredible club does it all. Golfers with a wide variety of physical issues, including bad backs, hips, shoulders, and more, are now back in the game golfing with friends and family. Just set the club to the desired distance, and with a push of the button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. The Power to Golf Club has been endorsed by some of the biggest names in golf, and the number of golfers enjoying the game by use of our unique technology continues to grow. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Don't be left on the sidelines. Get back in the game today. Visit at powergolfclub.com.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. All right, we are forging ahead on our show with our special guest, Jamie McWILLIAMS. And Jamie, let me ask you this. I'm sure you watched a little bit of the Hero Challenge maybe last week, Tiger's tournament. He didn't play in it because he said he's not tournament sharp. Well, I know he's got a hell of a lot of fans, as you know, and I hate to break the news, but I don't think Tiger is ever going to be tournament sharp. He is done. And for people that don't believe that, I feel sorry for him. He's waiting till he's tournament sharp. Well, you tell me, how the hell is he going to get tournament ready when he says he's only going to play, 4 events next year? The 4 majors and the Genesis Invitational. How do you get tournament ready when you're playing that little and you're playing at home with your son Charlie and your friends, of course, who he's going to beat? So what's your view on it? Even they're going to give him a cart when he gets over to the senior tour, but I still think it looks very doubtful, Jamie.
Well, if you look at the way some of the players who are unknown have come on, as strong as they are, I don't know if it's a combination of mental toughness, but I think a lot of it is just genetics. And the guys who come on really strong and endure like Bernard Langer
Yeah.
and Tom Watson, who
Yeah.
almost won, they had, for whatever reason, they have the physical ability and the genetics that allowed their bodies to keep going and going. Remember, Greg Norman came close to winning the
The
Open
Open, yeah.
uh, over there, and yet when he tried to put himself back into that regimen of disciplined working, and he was a hard worker, hitting tons of balls, his back couldn't take it. His shoulder, he couldn't do it. That's just the way genetics go. Throw into the mix multiple back surgeries and a disabled leg to some degree, and I think that it'll be more interesting to see when the senior tour comes up if he decides he really like to get back into competition with a card. Maybe I think he could still win some tournaments, but basically, if he has to walk and face difficult conditions, I think he can play just like us. As he gets older, it gets harder and harder, and he'll have bursts of brilliance. He'll have some great shot making, but he'll also, as his body starts to slip further and further downhill just because of aging and with the other factors, that sustaining is not something that it can be in the picture. So, at some point, the question mark becomes, will Tiger want to put himself out there if he has moments and events where he doesn't make the cut, he just looks like he's a has-been?
Yeah.
That, I think, will be more psychologically devastating and more of a deterrent to his keep on going
agree.
His ability to actually play the game.
I absolutely agree, because let's say, all these guys have egos and they want to play good. If they don't play good and if they look like bums, it's got to wear on them, and they're not, they're kind of don't want it. They don't need it, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. What do you think about these stupid rules that the tour has recently imposed about, number one, cutting the field on these events, only giving out a lower amount of tour cards on both the Q School and the other tour? It's taking away from the younger guys, from the journeyman guys that are trying to get up there, trying to make a living, trying to become better, and now they've got all these bumps in the road. I think it's very, very unfair, and the elite players got to be licking their chops. Well, I only got to beat 120 guys now instead of 140. It just seems unfair, Jamie.
Well, you can always take the argument that golf is an unfair game.
Yeah. Well, we know that. We know that,
right. But things usually have a way of balancing out. But when it comes to this, I know when right here when we moved to Florida and they had qualifying in the course where I play, which is a pretty darn good course, and I would get to see people who were established tour players fighting for 3 spots or 4 spots and seeing how difficult it was. And when you reduce it now to like 1 spot or 2 spots, the odds are almost, and they don't charge you a green fee to play these things. You've got to dish out some serious coin just to try to make it there. But if you look at the bigger picture, and this is just my theory, is that when you look at the tour statistics now, in the bigger pressure field events, the cream players still tend to come through and dominate. But if you look at tour week in, week out, there's so many good players coming up. They're in such good condition. They all can hit the ball well. It comes down to intangibles, but there are more and more guys who, from different routes and different ways, win on the PGA Tour. So when you look at that, you almost say, is it, I don't want to say a cynical decision, but you say, look, you ultimately, when guys are at that high a level, you want to see the people you really like win. You may be a Koepka fan, like you're a Tiger fan. So maybe that's part of the psychology, is to say, as much as I wouldn't say diluting the product, because it's not like they're bad players coming up. Everybody's gotten so good and so competitive that they may say, if we really want the tour to thrive, we can't have it like a bunch of unknowns winning tournaments just because they have the talent, but they're going to favor the people that people can follow until they can't play anymore. And maybe that's a factor, but is it fair?
Yeah.
No. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. You'll have to see how it plays out. All I know is that the guys who have made millions of dollars and are the journeyman players and now might not be playing anymore,
Right.
maybe they'll come back in the senior tour. Maybe that's what they hold out, but it's not good for them. Definitely, it's not.
No, 100%. I agree with that. Like you said, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. You've got some other things that are going. You're doing some writing now. Tell us about that.
Well, at this point in my life, I don't know how much more active I want to stay in the golf end of it, because I'm a little bit spoiled. I don't have to work anymore. So when I do things, it's because of being able to go on shows like this and sound off, and especially when I'm dealing with the friends such as Dennis. So that it's more about enjoyment and things like that. But I've always been kind of a big picture guy. I've always been an iconoclast. I've always been a wise ass. So it has to happen.
Well, that's why we love you. Yeah.
Fun, fun and things. Well, and well, in that regard too, my mind works in a different way. Like, I believe that the Biden Library, which they talked about not even having, they should have one. And it should be at Sing Sing. I think it'd be great reading for the inmates, and I think a book signing by Joe would be wonderful there. But that's the way I think, It's never going to be mainstream.
That's funny. Yeah, it's probably going to be filled with paperbacks. You know what I mean? Who knows what an era.
Maybe classified documents.
Yeah, maybe God, he's got enough of them.
In jail. What can they do to them? They can't put them.
I know.
They're already there.
And
I think it's a great solution.
he's saving one pardon, and you know who that's for. He's saving one pardon. It's just a very interesting time, as you know, that we're involved in. Anyway, I am going to let you go because I know you got a lot of stuff to do. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always great to see you again and talk to you again. I wish the hell you'd come out to Vegas sometime soon.
Well, I've thought about that, and when the airlines schedules don't make you fly overnight on the Frontier or something like that, where you end up with a store back or everything. No, I do love coming out to Vegas. But hey, Dennis, in not too long, just another month and a half, we'll be seeing each other in Orlando. So that'll be our reunion
for the PGA Merchandise Show, and always love that. And we will catch up on that. Anyway, Jamie, take care. Give my best to your beautiful wife, and we'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you soon. Appreciate it.
Couldn't be better than that, Dennis. It's been a pleasure.
All right, thanks, Jamie. Jamie McWilliams, everybody, just a great guy, golf nut, writer, director, producer. Super talented. Anyway, we're going to step away, take our one last break. We'll be right back.
Carter Bonus of Spectrum Golf not slowing down. His third year at the PGA Show, and the cameras are still following him. This time, Whistle Sports Media and Entertainment and Fox 35's morning show in Orlando, Florida. Carter, who is on the autism spectrum, has been Sports Illustrated Sports Kid of the Year, the Masters UPS Unstoppable CEO of the Year, all while securing a spot on the Stars of the Spectrum golf team created by former NFL quarterback Doug Flutie. Carter has been telling his incredible story about why he started his line of golf apparel around the globe, and his impact is making a difference.
I know that some stuff seems hard and that it's impossible, but one of my favorite quotes is, "It seems impossible until it's done." And over the past 3 years, I never thought I would get here and do all the stuff that I'm doing right now. Be Sports Illustrated Sports Kid of the Year for 2022. Be UPS's and the Masters Unstoppable CEO. Meet Steph Curry. Meet all of these good people. Meet Ernie Els, Alex Checa. Meet all, and be speaking in schools and in front of all of you good people and everyone that I've spoken to before. I never thought I would do any of this. When I was little, I thought I would do nothing. But now I'm actually here, and I am successful, and I am happy, and I am thriving, and I'm saying if I can do it, you guys can do it.
Carter, who loves playing golf, designed his own logo and put it on the softest material he could find because he has a skin sensitivity. So it not only looks good, but feels good too. He offers hats, belts, shirts, pants, and more. For more information, go to carterspectrumgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Overs, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, and I'm here to tell you about some great wedges and putters from Grindworks USA. First, the Grindworks Barrett Collection Wedge Set. These wedges are unparalleled in today's market. The wedges come to you in 3 different lofts, 51, 57, and 61 degrees, all designed to be able to spin around the greens with the ability to hit high, middle, or low shots around the greens. Grindworks also makes a line of their Windsor Wells Precision Machine putters. This beautiful design of putter was not only created to be appealing to the eye, but to perform better on the greens. You will gain a ton of confidence to help lower your scores. Go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046. I promise your scores will love you for it. All right, that's going to close out this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. For Jamie McWilliams, I'm Dennis Overs. We're going to see you back next week, same time, same place. And with Spectrum Golf, Carter has written a book that we're going to be talking about, which is absolutely awesome. So until then, keep it in the short stuff. Get out and play some golf if you can, and we'll see you soon. So long, everybody.